Recording secretary with us tonight, Shannon Winters, Tom Wooden, our town manager, and selectmen Trish Warren, Wendy Wolf, myself, Denise Griffin, Bill Hamblin, and Russ Hoffman. So, I think we'll move right into town manager announcements. Tom?
Thank you. The only one I have tonight is just an update on the old Harbor Master boat that we ran an ad for 3 weeks. We got no interest in it whatsoever. So I'm thinking that it might not be the right time of year to be trying to sell that. So we're winterizing all the boats, floats, and so forth. And I think it makes sense just to start re-advertising in the spring and see if we get more interest during boating season rather than going into winter. So
Sounds good.
that's the only announcement I have right now.
Okay, great. So, Julia, financials.
Okay, you have before you revenue and expense sheets. Total revenue year to date, $4,125,480.76. Total expenses year to date, $3,050,139.76. As you can see, we have the graphs back. Thank you to Bill Hamlin for helping me today. We have received about 54% of our budgeted revenue compared to last year at this time, 51.8. So we have, and it's mainly in tax collection. Our tax collection is up compared to this time last year. As well as, I think after tonight's warrant, will roughly be about 4% under what we were expended this time last year. So total accounts payable $81,840.55, and the bank balance is $2,815,307. And I think given the timing, Tom explained last week that the auditors are on for November 9th, selectmen's meeting, so.
Okay,
do their
so that's our next
presentation.
meeting.
That's the next meeting, yes.
We'll try to get you the final bound copies as soon as possible so you can be familiar with it long beforehand.
Great.
Okay.
Did anyone
Great.
have any questions on the sheets?
Looks good.
Okay, moving on. So our consent agenda, we have, I'll look for a motion to approve the minutes of the October 13th meeting.
So moved. Second.
Any comments, changes, additions, concerns, questions?
Minor point on the executive session. It says MRSA section, it should read 405-6A, and so generally parentheses around the 6 and the A would delineate it, because otherwise it would be 40,560 or something.
Okay, so all in favor of the minutes with the addition of the parentheses? Okay,
And I'm abstaining since I wasn't here.
okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay,
But I will say, I want to compliment you, Shannon, on a great first foray, so, yeah.
good.
Even though I wasn't here, I could understand everything that happened, so. Yeah.
All right, so moving on to old business. Wendy, do you want to give an update on economic development?
Sure, and I have some compatriots here. Tom has been at the meetings, and Mike Tomko has been at the meetings, and for everyone who has been following this, we've been meeting every 2 weeks, feeling that people were interested enough to make this a more energized activity that we want to get a jump start on. And one of the key things that we did between Booth Bay and Booth Bay Harbor was try and identify what we've called hotspots, which is where are things happening within the region that people already know about with regard to planned growth, projects under development. And so between the group, we gathered a lot of information about where things are unfolding. An example might be the Botanical Gardens master plan that Bill Klein has been talking about. You all have seen the rearranged road at the Booth Bay Common. So elements like that, it's given us a chance to try and identify what things might be more immediate activities for us to focus our efforts on, to learn more about and see where we could provide some guidance and also learn more about what's happening for our groups' deliberations, and also identify things that are longer term, such as things like expanding broadband and some of the other things that we've talked about even here at the Select Board meeting. We have elected or designated co-chairs, which are myself and Abby Levin representing Booth Bay, and Southport sent 2 representatives to the committee saying that Southport would like to be involved in the deliberations, and so we have welcomed them as guest participants, since Southport's not an official member of the Memorandum of Agreement. So we have another meeting next week. The activities that are planned, members, we're decided that we each have very different perspectives on what might promote economic development, and many of us on the committee are not local business people. Myself, as an example, I work in Augusta, so my views of what might enhance or inhibit economic development are pretty rudimentary and unformed, because I don't run a business here. And so we decided the group would send in suggestions of 3 to 4 businesses that they would like to personally interview. We're going to have a standard questionnaire, and members are going to interview business people in the community based on the list that we compiled, to try and get sort of a broader understanding of what are the assets that people see in the community, what really is positive that made them either want to locate here, stay here, build a business here, what are the things that are inhibiting them from growing, and also just finding out if there are other activities that we should be aware of, or see if the committee have guidance for how we can make a positive impact. Do you two want to add anything to that?
The only other thing I would add was that we've also asked Mary Ellen Barnes to consolidate
Yes, thanks.
the 2 towns' comprehensive plans priorities for economic development, so that we can, at our next meeting or one of the upcoming meetings, look that over and make sure that we're dovetailing the Economic Development Committee's goals with what the comp plan's goals are, so that we're not reinventing the wheel, but we're trying to focus it the same as the comp plans.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Mike, did you want to add something?
I would just mention that the group all had a consensus of opinion that they were a kind of roll your sleeves up, get your hands dirty type of group to work, and they wanted a table. So we are moving our meetings over to the YMCA, where we should have a large table to be able to have things to put in front and look and point to, and that seemed to be an affirmation of a working group.
Yes, actually, Steve Malcolm, we took our suggestions for hot spots, and Steve generated a regional map. The first thing we did was put Post-it notes where we knew the hot spots were, and then Steve actually took that information and sort of geo-mapped it on the regional map. And we were meeting in the Booth Bay town office, so we're a big enough group, we can't sit around their little tables, so we sort of felt like we were in the campfire circle with the big map in the middle where the campfire was, and it felt a little odd. So we are going to move our meetings to the YMCA conference room, just because they have conference calling there. It's a little bit more convenient. The other thing that I should mention about our outreach to the community is also another way to build awareness of the committee's activities with local businesses, and try and see if we can engage more people in providing input and working with us on the efforts that we identify by the interviews. So, but I know the 3 of us be happy to answer any questions that any of you have.
We had also mentioned about the possibility of bringing in speakers, individuals to talk about their plans and how they viewed economic development and learn from their expertise. And that met with general reception, with the idea that we felt we needed a little more work on our part before we started to invite others in and ask for their opinions.
Yeah, and See, this is sort of like, we play off each other here. Last Thursday, there was a meeting in Brunswick on community development that was sponsored by the Friends of Midcoast Maine, and we actually had very good showing from the Booth Bay and Booth Bay Harbor participants. Mike, Ken Rail, myself were there from the harbor, and Abby Levin from Booth Bay. So it was a great meeting. It was really wonderful information of ways of thinking about economic development and community development in ways that were data-driven and using data in very different and telling ways to really look at what's both efficient and sustainable over time. So it was really a fantastic meeting, and I think got a lot of people's juices flowing. So I think that's it.
Wendy, is there a, maybe you mentioned it even, but is there a thought as part of your interview or questionnaire or whatever that form is going to be, that you would ask what businesses thought would attract
Sure.
new businesses, or other, what these folks think might attract new business, I think would be useful.
Yeah, we could ask that explicitly. I think what we're trying to do is have a short enough survey that people don't get
Sure.
fatigued, but by trying to focus on an asset-based discussion of what really is positive that works here, I think leads into that natural question of what do you think might be the this attracted you, what do you think would attract others? So thanks for suggesting that.
Thank you for the
Yep.
update. Makes sense. Okay, new business. Valerie, you're here to talk about a proclamation, I think.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm Valerie Young, and I am the chair of Booth Bay Treasures. We're a kind of coalition or an alliance of nonprofit organizations in the community. Right now, this year, we have 37 nonprofits who are participating. Last year, we had 26, and the year before that, we had 6. So we've been kind of growing. There's over 50 nonprofits on the peninsula. We encompass the towns of Southport, Booth Bay Harbor, Booth Bay, and Edgecombe. And so we originally grouped around the idea of Giving Tuesday. It's a national day of philanthropy. It follows Black Friday and Cyber Monday, the shopping days, and then Giving Tuesday is kind of a relief of also remembering to donate to the organizations that provide services and are mission-driven to kind of balance the scales a little bit. So the 37 nonprofits work together to just raise awareness of what we do, what we offer on the peninsula, and also to thank our many, many volunteers, staff, supporters, and donors who provide, who really are keeping all of the organizations alive and healthy. So the proclamation is a standard wording that comes from Giving Tuesday, which is an international day now. It was started by the 92nd Street Y in New York City. So that wording can certainly be altered in any way and improved to make it work for our region. But I am asking the other towns, Southport, Booth Bay, and Edgecombe, to also do the proclamation. And I have sent in a request to the state as well for the governor to make a proclamation. So with that, if you have any questions about what we're doing, I really thank you for letting me give a 2-minute spiel about what we are.
Great, thank you. Okay, I think we have signed this proclamation and endorsed it in previous years. So I'll look for a motion from somebody.